If the 20th century has taught us something, is that you cannot just call yourself a tyrant, or you cannot call yourself a dictator if you have not used public funds to create something that is a monument to something that you love. Hi everyone, this is Luis. If you don't know me, I'm socially engaged. Before we continue, remember to subscribe, to hit the bell down there, to comment and to share if you like the content of this video. Today we're going to do a very fun trip. We're going to Felcsút. This is this village where the Prime Minister of Hungary, Viktor Orbán, grew up, and also where the richest man in Hungary grew up, Mr. Lawrence, who is the best friend of Viktor Orbán. And we're going to visit two of the main attractions in the village, which are projects that have been built up with public funds just to satisfy Orbán's ego, and demonstrate basically how actually Hungary works in terms of corruption. It's very open, it's very out there, it's very visible. So I'm not very excited about this one, but I am very excited to show you because the only way that we can actually protect our democracies is to be aware that everything is fragile and we need to defend it every day. So let's just get into it. Hi everyone, so we just arrived to Felcsút. For who doesn't know, Felcsút is actually a very normal, regular small village here in Hungary. I mean, you enter to the village and then you enter, you see normal people, the normal houses, but then after passing the gas station, the first thing that you see is this huge building that is the Pancho Arena and the Puskás Ferenc Academia, which is the Academy of Football. This was built up in front of the house of Viktor Orbán, the childhood house of Viktor Orbán. Orbán also is said to live in this village, but in a mansion that is a little bit on the outskirts of the village. It's a very interesting thing because the symbolism of having this huge stadium is actually talking a lot about the state of democracy and the state of transparency in Hungary. When you become the prime minister, I understand that as much as you like football, because it's said that Orbán, even in his youth, used to watch 6 matches a day. I mean, one thing is to be a football lover, and then the other thing is actually to build up a huge stadium and an academy right next to your childhood house. I mean, this government is actually living setting an example that power is actually something that you're supposed to make business of, and that is actually a very negative example for newer generations. I think that Hungary is well known for having a government that is immersed in a lot of corruption scandals. Corruption happens everywhere in Europe, but then this is a demonstration that like one thing is to have a passion and the other thing is to abuse of it, and then in the way that you abuse it, then to destroy a whole system of democracy and a whole system of justice for financial transparency. So one of the most outrageous things that you can find here in Felcsút is actually this little train that was built up by Viktor Orbán, and then it's a little train that was built up with European Union money. It gives around to the city. This is the Puskás Academy stop, and then basically it was a project that cost 600 million forints. I will put on how much euros is that on the description, but even the European Commission had paid a visit here to Hungary, because I mean, I don't think that is a secret. I mean, corruption happens everywhere. It's not only in Hungary, but then there is many times actually not such a traceable or tangible experience like here in Felcsút. I mean, this is a very unnecessary project that costs a lot of money that we don't know if actually there is a clear financial disclosure of how the money was used. And then moreover, actually, it's more the fact that it symbolizes that if you're a prime minister, if you're in power, and then you just have a project that satisfies you personally, then you can finance it with the taxpayer money of many Europeans, which is not correct. And this is an interesting thing because it benefits a few people. It benefits obviously, like the people who are on the top and that are affiliated with the government. But then at the end, it's a detriment for people like us, like Hungarians, regulars, who are actually aiming for projects to be financed with the European Union's fund, and that cannot, be scrutinized, or that maybe will be rejected just because we are living precedent of these horrible projects where corruption is very visible. We cannot talk about corruption in Hungary without talking about Mészáros Lawrence. Mészáros Lawrence is basically the richest man here in Hungary, and he was a childhood friend from Viktor Orbán, and he also is from this little village. Now, this is a very interesting thing because Mészáros Lawrence used to be a plumber. Now, with this said, I don't have anything against plumbers. Actually, as a liberal, I do believe that everybody has the potential to build up an empire even from scratch. I have seen it also in, many other societies. The problem is that, when you are an entrepreneur and when you are basically building up an empire of businesses, then it is very visible that this guy has gotten all the concessions to build up everything that has been related with, for example, EU monies, projects of infrastructure, of energy, that basically has been given to him and his companies. And this is actually a very problematic thing because Mészáros Lawrence has become the symbol of Hungarian corruption. And then actually even like for newer generations that probably don't have access to education, also has become a symbol of, like an example to follow, which is actually very detrimental for future generations, just because the fact that you are close by a government doesn't mean that you are supposed, to get privileges from the government. And then it's also a little bit problematic because, when your childhood friend becomes the richest man in the country within 10 years, it tells a lot about also your own finances, because it tells a lot about where is he gathering his money. Is also for him only, or because, or is it also for Orbán and his family? I mean, there's like many open questions, because obviously like the mission of this government has to build up the new oligarchy in Hungary. But then the case of Mészáros Lawrence is just a very, very gross thing that, has come up already in the European Commission, has come up already in the European Parliament, and that, eventually, there has to be a face of accountability that reaches out once that we move away from this government, and that we have to find out, what happened with those funds, where was the money used, how were the concessions given, and then how was the money spent, because that's true justice, and that's only the things that will allow us to move forward as a society. Peace only comes with transparency and with justice. Alright, so we are just leaving Felcsút. I've come here several times, obviously because of my work, and then because of the activism that we do against corruption and then pro-democracy. But every time that I come here, I just get surprised on how gross is actually, these projects, because it's a mixed feeling. In the one side, it is a very beautiful building. It builds up to actually the national pride of loving football, and also what I was telling you about, the heroism of Puskás Ferenc. But at the same time, it's just like this blatant symbol of Hungarian corruption, and then what is not supposed to be, and how money is not supposed to be spent. Now, just examples like this. Examples like this are all across the country. We see it with little projects that have been overpriced and that are being charged outrageous amount of money, and then that they are funded with EU money, And then, you know, I think it's very sad because it is not obvious that the Orbán regime is actually expecting for some sanctions or for some sort of accountability, because that's the reason why the Orbán regime is so close to the Russian regime or to the Chinese regime, because obviously, you know, he needs to balance his interests and then to keep on the money coming when he knows actually that eventually the tap will be closed. Anyways, I hope that actually this gave you some information. If you're outside of Europe, then I think that is actually an interesting thing to come and see, and also to be critical with yourself, because, you know, at the end of the day, this is taxpayer money from the European taxpayers. So, you know, I mean, as a union, I think that we need to be very, very strong on asking, you know, all of our countries of where the money is being spent, because it's supposed to be spent on projects that benefit the majority of society and not a little part of it. So I hope that you like this video. Remember to subscribe, to hit the bell, to comment, and then to like and share. And if you like this video and then you want me just to go around also and then show you other examples of corruption here in Hungary, just leave a note, and then I really hope to see you next time. Bye. Sziasztok.